All right, so as time goes on, it looks like things are just getting worse and worse for the right-wing reactionary conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. So a couple of weeks ago, or I guess a couple of months ago at this point, we were covering that original trial where he was actually testifying and defending himself against a lawsuit that was brought forward by some of the families of the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre, where they were basically alleging that he had defamed them and caused significant emotional distress to their lives by him spreading conspiracy theories about how the shooting was a false flag attempt, how they were just crisis actors, and subsequently, of course, many of his supporters went on to go aggressively harass a lot of these families and make what is pretty much already the most horrific situation that a human being can go through just that much worse. So we got the original settlement results from that first trial that he was going into, and he was ordered to pay out tens of millions of dollars to some of these families. Now, just yesterday, we got these results from this other trial that was just taking place in Connecticut, where these numbers are just absolutely bonkers. Okay, so here from Ben Collins. He says, breaking absolutely astronomical figures in this InfoWars lawsuit out of Connecticut. Alex Jones owes $229 million to just the first three plaintiffs, all family members of Sandy Hook victims. There are 9 more plaintiffs to go. So this is just where we started out with, right? $229 million. Absolutely fucking wild. He continues, saying Alex Jones makes an enormous amount of money, but not this much. More and more $30 million judgments will be read right now. This might be a death knell for InfoWars. So this is part of the thing that like Alex Jones has been claiming since that first trial, that, oh, I'm actually like broke and I don't have all of this money that they're claiming that I have. I'm never going to be able to pay it. Honestly, I mean, when it comes to like this next figure, he probably doesn't have the money to actually pay this. But as we're going to get to here in a second, it seems like based on the way that this is going to be structured, he is essentially going to have to be paying out some of these settlements for the rest of his life, as long as he is bringing in any income whatsoever. So he continues, and this is where we get the bombshell. He says, breaking, a Connecticut court rules Alex Jones owes Sandy Hook victims over $1 billion. $1 billion. He says Alex Jones is on his show right now, learning that he owes over $1 billion in damages. He says, this must be what hell is like. They just read out the damages, even though you don't got the money. He says Alex Jones is hoping that there's a cap on these damages and is now just mocking the verdict. Why not make it trillions? This is not an amount that he can fundraise or sell supplements to get out of. Even Jones gave up trying to add up the damages. He says we lost count. It's in the billions. And he finishes off here saying Alex Jones, after his $1 billion damages verdict, they want to scare us away from any questions about Uvalde or Parkland. We're not going away. We're not going to stop. So I'm going to actually show you this clip from his show that they were just referencing there. So this is absolutely wild, right? So after he gets the original like tens of millions of dollars that he's going to have to be paying from that first trial that we covered, now he's getting over $1 billion in damages that he's going to be having to pay out to these families. This was his immediate response as this was happening. Okay, just completely fucking deranged, doubling down on some of the conspiracies around these school shootings.
They want to scare everybody away from freedom and scare us away from questioning Uvalde and what really happened there, or Parkland or any other event. And guess what? We're not scared, and we're not going away, and we're not going to stop. And literally, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, I can keep them in court for years. I can appeal this stuff. We can stand up against this travesty, against the billions of dollars they want. It's a joke. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com and get Vitamin Mineral Fusion, get X3, get all the great products that are there that keep us on air at InfoWarsStore.com.
Okay, so, I mean, yeah, just doubling down on all of this shit. Now, listen, when it comes to Parkland, I'm not sure exactly what type of, like, specific conspiracies that he's suggesting took place there, but when it also comes to, when it comes to the Uvalde shooting, there are definitely, like, some good critiques that you could be making in terms of, like, how the police refused to go in. There were hundreds of them on the scene. They didn't go in and confront the shooter when they should have. There was a lot of, like, cover-ups in the aftermath of that, a lot of lying that was coming out of the police departments. There's definitely, like, fair critiques there, but I don't think that that's the lane that he's trying to go with, right? I think that, you know, this could definitely be an instance of him also trying to suggest that the Parkland and Uvalde shootings were like false flags, or that they were conspiracies by the government or something like that to try to justify taking away your guns. Pretty much the same shit that he was saying about the Sandy Hook shooting. So, I mean, listen, this guy has not learned his lesson. I mean, really, I mean, if there was any chance of him being redeemed in this circumstance, or genuinely being like apologetic to the families and trying to correct the record and saying that, okay, I was wrong about this. I initially thought maybe it was a conspiracy, but I'm sorry about all of the pain that life caused to many of these families, then, maybe that would be one thing, but he just completely tossed it out the window. And if you guys remember when we were covering him testifying in that first trial, he was like later in the day going on his show, and or even in some cases while the trial was going on and he wasn't there, he was on his show still spreading conspiracies. I mean, he was like spreading conspiracies about the judge in the case. He put up that bizarre a video or graphic where the judge was like on fire and in his thumbnail and shit. It was just like so much shit where it's like this guy has no remorse. He has no, care in the world about the pain that he's caused these families. And, I think that there's been a couple of other good points that have been made. I want you guys to go watch. I'm not going to play it in this video, but after this is done, go ahead and watch this Alex Jones interview that was done by Andrew Callaghan of Channel 5, because this shit will give you a perspective in terms of like how destructive his lies were, right? And some of his like deranged supporters, some of the shit that they were saying to these family members, just endlessly harassing them, showing up at their homes, leaving them threatening voicemails, all just completely deranged and horrific shit to be doing to families who have already gone through pretty much the worst thing that a human can go through. And this is what he was responsible for. And again, he's not remorseful. He's doubling down on this already while this trial is unfolding, while he's learning about all of these damages, and then even suggesting he's going to continue looking into or spreading conspiracies about other school shootings. I mean, it's just fucking insane. But just a little bit more information in terms of like how this pay structure is going to go. We got to take here from Richard Signorelli. He says these awards are not dischargeable in a personal bankruptcy because they are based on intentional tortious conduct. Jones will be hounded for the rest of his days for payments, and any efforts at hiding income/assets could be met with contempt sanctions, including imprisonment. So again, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to weasel his way out of this. Maybe, as he was saying in that clip that we just watched, he's going to try to like challenge this in court. Wouldn't be surprised at all if that gets pretty much struck down immediately, because he has no justifiable claim against what he actually did in this circumstance. And again, I mean, there's some people that are coming out right now. There's some people trying to make the argument, especially conservatives, but even some liberals as well, who are trying to say that like, this is going to set a bad precedent, right? This is something that we should all reject as a matter of principle, because this is going to silence free speech or something like that. And, people should be able to spread wild conspiracies like this on any platform that they want. I think that that's completely ridiculous. I think if you actually look at the facts of this, if you go watch a video like this, hear directly from the lawyer that was representing these families, hear about some of the shit that these families went through, this should be an open and shut case that I think everybody should be able to get behind. But just on that front, I think we had a good take here from Will Geerters in terms of how stupid that argument is. He says, I hate Alex Jones too, but this will have a chilling effect on free speech. After the next school shooting, some people might think twice before they start harassing the victims and accuse them of being actors in order to sell brain pills. And I think that he's obviously being sarcastic, and I think he's 100% right to be sarcastic in that sense. If this is going to be something that chills free speech, well then, okay. I mean, that's something that I'm kind of fine with to a certain extent. Like, yeah, you should probably think twice. You should probably, actually have some sort of like remorse. You should, maybe not go about addressing some of these issues when it's such a sensitive issue, and all of these people have just gone through such horrific shit. Yeah, maybe don't be going and spreading wild conspiracy theories about how they're paid actors and how no children actually died, and then sick your supporters on them to go harass them on a regular basis and in incredibly vicious ways. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. This is not something where it's like a marginal edge case where it's like, okay, somebody was like critiquing the government of Israel and they got sued for being like anti-Semitic or defaming, the Israeli government or something like that. It's not like an edge case, right? This is a pretty open and shut situation where I think anybody who has any sense of morality or justice or empathy for these people would understand that Alex Jones is a massive piece of shit and that he 100% deserves the charges that they are bringing against him. And honestly, I hope that this does, push him to the edge of bankruptcy. I hope that this does negatively affect his show and his ability to continue having a platform where he is just able to go out and say the dumbest shit you could possibly imagine that, isn't just saying dumb shit for the sake of it, but stuff that has like actual material consequences to other people's lives and like poses a direct threat to a lot of people's lives. I mean, this is something that nobody should have sympathy for him in this case. He's obviously not remorseful, and so, fuck him.
Everyone is saying good politic guy has the best politic. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying